came to Europe to find peace and safety, but his journey was paved with many pitfalls and suffering. This young African migrant wished to remain anonymous for fear of reprisals.
When I came to Budapest, it was crazy. It was horrible. I spent almost 8 months just homeless, finding, sleeping in hostels. I had the money to pay the flat, but nobody was willing to pay out, offer the flat. So that's the most difficult thing in Hungary, finding a flat when you're a migrant.
He's been living in Hungary for more than 5 years now, and with the help of charities has been able to get temporary residency rights. That makes him one of the lucky ones. In 2015, Viktor Orban's government built a wall on the border with Serbia in an effort to stop migrants entering Hungary. Europe's leading human rights agency, the Council of Europe, has called the Hungarian government's treatment of migrants inhumane, and in a recent report accuses Prime Minister Orban and his anti-migrant rhetoric of fueling xenophobic behavior. But this young migrant remains optimistic about his life in Budapest.
People are really different. We have really good people around, and we have those people who don't like to see any refugee migrant around. But I don't pay much attention to that because I can't change anything. At the same time, there is no social support to integrate. If you want to learn the language, besides the local NGOs, the government is not doing anything.
All the same, he wishes to learn more about Hungary's language and culture, working his way up to obtaining a diploma here in Budapest and perhaps a permanent residency. LAMINE from Senegal has also faced indifference and homelessness. He arrived in Spain illegally in 2006.
When we cross borders, we stop being human beings. We're treated like animals. We're discriminated against, beaten up and thrown in jail. All kinds of sufferings.
LAMINE is still undocumented and has been working as a street vendor in Barcelona. In 2015, he funded an association for others in his situation. They've since launched a clothing brand.
We created this brand to help people get off the streets and find a decent job. We wanted this association to allow people living on the streets without a work contract to earn a decent wage.
Spain's socialist government recently hardened its position on immigration and is working with African countries to contain and reduce the number of new arrivals. In 2018, Spain was the main gateway for undocumented migrants into Europe. In Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel made a bold political choice in 2015, welcoming nearly 1 million Syrian refugees fleeing the war. Entire families traveled across Eastern Europe through the Balkans, some of them making their way here to Berlin. MONDHER was a vocal opponent of Syria's President Bashar al-Assad. He's since received political asylum in Germany.
The government helped us, offering free German language classes. They've also guaranteed us monthly financial aid, which allows us to eat and have a decent life, while we are looking for a job and a more stable situation.
MONDHER had to abandon his architecture degree because of the ongoing war back home in Syria. Once in Berlin, he got onto a training course in computer science and has been working for a local startup for the past 2 years. His boss is glad to have him on the team.
For an entrepreneur, a boss, I think it's good to have different people from different cultural background in your company, to have a broader view on things. And we look for smart people, whether they're from Germany or anywhere else. At the end, we don't care.
Germany reported the largest total number of non-EU migrants in Europe in 2017, with just under 200,000 new asylum seekers. A far cry from the record 890,000 asylum requests granted in 2015 at the height of the migration crisis. With the EU parliamentary elections underway, immigration remains the main bone of contention between pro-European and Eurosceptic groups, with right-wing populist movements at a record high in the polls.